Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe.
Thank you for being an awesome pledge hammer on Patreon. Ken, I'm not eligible to get a case of craft beer, De Leon. There's no time to breathe after the epic day of wrestling awesomeness that was August the 31st, with New Japan's Royal Quest, NXT UK TakeOver Cardiff, and AEW's All Out, because it's almost time for Clash of Champions. Alright, yeah. Next weekend sees the show where every WWE Championship is on the line, which means we'll likely be there for 17 hours. Universal WWE Raw Tag Team, SmackDown Tag Team, Intercontinental, United States Cruiserweight, Raw Women's, SmackDown Women's Tag Team, 24/7 Hardcore, European, Light Heavyweight, $1 million. There's just so many championships. And also Eric Rowan versus Roman Reigns. That's an awful lot of matches, but luckily there's a fair amount of intrigue heading into the show. The Raw Tag Team Champions are also facing each other later in the night. Bayley's just turned heel, Sasha Banks is back, so who knows what could happen? Well, your boy's here to break it all down. All the rumors, all the speculation, all the things you need to know heading into next week's Clash of Champions. Before we get into it though, make sure to press the thumbs up, subscribe, and bell icon to enable notifications, and leave us a comment answering the question of the day, which today is, which match are you most looking forward to at Clash of Champions? But now let's dive in. Braun Strowman will turn on Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman will be pulling double duty at Clash of Champions, with the two men first defending their Raw Tag Team Championships against Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler, aka Rudolph, and then going head-to-head for Seth's Universal Championship. They have the clear advantage in terms of star power, but will they be able to work together as a team with the Universal Championship match looming over them? One of them is likely to turn on the other, and you really can't see that being Seth because, you know, he's the valiant babyface who never says die and he's the monster slayer or whatever. Braun is enough of a monster to turn on Seth without it being an actual heel turn. He could give him a couple of slams and say something brawny like, "Monsters don't make agreements," although, you know, like 15 times better than that. "You should have read the terms and conditions. You didn't read the fine print." There we go, that's the one. Yep, that one. Another possibility is that they're so focused on the match later in the evening that they simply can't work together and end up getting distracted for one of Dolph or Roode to do a sneaky little roll-up. This will allow Seth and Braun to look at each other with a, well, at least we have our match later face, you know the one, the... That was a perfect impression, that. Because of all this, it looks very much like Braun and Seth will lose the tag titles. Well, it was fun while it lasted, wasn't it? Wasn't it? Wasn't it? If all that was mentioned previously comes to pass, and according to Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio, it will, then we are in for some new Raw Tag Team Champions. Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler won the right to face the champions after winning an 8-team tag team turmoil match on Raw a couple of weeks back, and defeated the former champions Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins last week on Raw for a bit of momentum, if you can call that momentum. The report is that Paul Heyman is particularly keen on Robert Roode, and that he's been put with Dolph Ziggler to get him over. I don't know about that plan. Of course, these Franken teams don't last for very long, unless you're the Bar, but a decent run with the belts and then a Roode victory in a subsequent feud when one turns on the other will do wonders for Roode, who has been pretty absent from WWE TV for much of this year. Clash of Champions has the potential to be a bad evening for Braun and Seth throughout, because you know who might just fancy making an appearance and ruining all the fun? The Fiend will interfere. On this past week's Raw, The Fiend Bray Wyatt made an appearance on Firefly Funhouse to challenge the winner of Seth Rollins vs. Braun Strowman at WWE's next pay-per-view, Hell in a Cell. But what if he can't wait until then? What if he's just feeling way too fiendish for his own good and he comes back and wreaks havoc at Clash of Champions? Now I know he said he would challenge the winner of the match, but why not challenge both men having disrupted their match, making the Hell in a Cell match a triple threat between the three? The issue here, however, is that all three men need to win the belt, but unless they decide to be triple champions, that can't really happen. The Fiend needs to win every match he can in the early days of this run. Seth Rollins just beat Brock Lesnar again to win the Universal title, and Braun Strowman has had more chances at the belt than I've had birthday wishes, so it would kill his momentum again if he loses as well. But anyway, back to Clash of Champions. Seth or Braun could be on the verge of winning, and then suddenly the lights start failing and the violins start playing. In comes the Fiend, double mandible claw, maybe a Sister Abigail or two. Job's a good one. If you're a betting kind of person and you think it will just be a singles match with no interference, then the smart money, according to betting sites, would be on Seth Rollins, who is a slight favorite to retain the belt at the pay-per-view. King Ricochet. Following this week's Raw and SmackDown, the semi-finals of the King of the Ring tournament are Ricochet versus Samoa Joe versus Baron Corbin, after Ricochet versus Joe went to a double pin, and therefore both men went through, and Elias versus Chad Gable, which I'm sure is the semi-final we all predicted to start with. Salty, I wanted Kevin Owens versus Andrade. It's still not exactly clear what the winner will actually receive other than a plastic king fancy dress costume, which looks so stupid. Who would ever wear something like that? But what is clear is that Ricochet is the current betting favorite to win the whole thing at Clash of Champions. The man's already been a king and a prince in his former wrestling lives, so why not keep up the regal theme and put the crown on his head once again? But not my one. My one's special, you see. Bayley will cost Becky Lynch the title. The world's best hugger turned into possible mugger on this past week's Raw, shockingly turned on Becky Lynch with a steel chair, while her best friend in the whole wide world, Sasha Banks, looked on. Blue-haired and gleeful at how far her best friend was willing to go to reunite the boss and hug connection. Becky has held the Raw Women's title pretty much without issue since winning it at WrestleMania, but having Sasha Banks in the picture actually makes me wonder whether we could be seeing a title change. Now that Bayley is a heel, WWE has the perfect opportunity to take the belt off her without it being a clean loss, and therefore the damage to her momentum is lessened. Bayley can come out during the match, distract Becky, and then Sasha can tap her out with the bank statement. What's way more exciting though, is now that she's a heel, Michael Cole will probably start shouting, "It's hug time!" every time Bayley makes her entrance. Roman Reigns will beat Eric Rowan. I don't think you need to be a rocket scientist to predict this one, as the story has been building for Roman Reigns to finally get his hands on the man who's been attacking him and literally attempting to murder him, Eric Rowan. While this could be the start of a huge singles push for Rowan, more likely is that Reigns beats him at Clash of Champions and Rowan falls right back down the card with nothing to do because WWE loses faith in his ability to draw. Surely not. We'd never see that one coming. Perhaps he could go back to his old smart redneck gimmick he had where he was solving Rubik's Cubes and being all smart and stuff. It really got over. Promise. Also, there's the whole thing where Daniel Bryan could come in and cost Rowan the match because, you know, floored him through a table on SmackDown. There's that too. Kofi Kingston will retain. Of all the championship matches taking place on the card, this one for the WWE Championship, according to all the bookies, is the hardest to call. Some go for Kofi and some go for Randy, but it seems as though Kofi just about has the edge over his opponents. Orton and his new FTRKO stable of himself and the Revival have been destroying the New Day over the past weeks, and Clash of Champions will see a full-on stable war. The Revival will take on Xavier Woods and Big E, and Kofi faces Randy. With the Revival technically being Raw stars, they're unlikely to pick up the win, and perhaps their win will give Kofi the momentum to go on and defeat Randy. Then again, what are brands? So realistically, the Revival could totally win. Like with Becky, this is the first time that you could realistically see Kofi dropping the belt since he won it at WrestleMania against Daniel Bryan. But also, a win against Randy Orton would cement him as the brand's top babyface moving forward, and he could hold the belt for several more months. Unless Brock Lesnar will return. The last time we saw big bulging Brock Lesnar was at SummerSlam, where he lost the Universal Championship to Seth Rollins. He hasn't been advertised for anything other than the upcoming SmackDown Live 20th anniversary show for its debut on Fox, which could mean that he is moving brands. Because of this, it's entirely possible that he could return after Kofi's match with Randy and just plop himself into the title picture because, as everyone knows, Brock Lesnar always has to be the champion or he just leaves and that's that. The report is that Fox wants SmackDown to have a more sports-based feel, and having someone like Brock, who's a former UFC champion, would seem to fit the bill quite well. He's the perfect heel monster for Kofi to go up against and fail despite a valiant attempt, and then can hold the belt, making sporadic appearances until they build up the next babyface to dethrone him. His current WWE contract doesn't run out until next April/May, so WWE might as well make the most of him while he's on their books. And anyway, who doesn't love a cheap Brock Lesnar pop? Me. That's who. I don't. But those were just some rumors and speculation. Let us know if you've got any other thoughts in the comments below, and make sure to leave us a like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. Click the videos on screen to catch up with the latest WrestleTalk and Screenstalker things, and a special thank you to our pledge hammers on Patreon, some of whom you see scrolling below me right now. I've been Joe with Pete Quinnell, and that was wrestling.